I want to talk you through what I talked through my neighbor last night regarding the crypto market because, well, fundamentally, based on these 4-year cycles that we had, there is one thought that I have, which, to be honest with you, leans a little bit bearish. I have the very bullish things that are in my mind as well, with some of the macroeconomic data that's sitting right in front of us. And I need to go through it all because Bitcoin, as I'm seeing this bearish thoughts and these bullish thoughts, is also sitting right at this point where cooler than expected inflation data is coming in and we're still on course. Stocks are doing very well. We're going into a moment where you have the Fed rate cuts coming, but we've also gone through our historical bull market, bear market cycle already, where we've seen Bitcoin already be in a bull run. As I explained to my neighbor last night, we've already been in this bull run for 1,065 days, which means that technically the sand in the hourglass that is Bitcoin has technically, according to the historical 4-year cycle data, technically it's already run out. There's the last bull market again, 1,064 days exactly. And for Bitcoin, you're looking at Bitcoin sitting right now below this trend line. On the weekly time frame, we have collapsed down through this trend line, and we have been playing a game of finding Bitcoin, which is broken below this trend line, bouncing back up to it, rejecting off, bouncing back up to it, and now again rejecting off just in the last few hours. But are we going to be able to see Bitcoin actually climb through this, not just on the hourly time frame like we saw just a few short days ago right here, but on the weekly time frame? It is such a time of uncertainty. Again, we have these 4-year cycles that are historically something that all we've had to go off of in the crypto space. If Bitcoin's bull market is over because its time has run out, altcoins could be about to absolutely collapse. But I can't help but think about some of the actual macroeconomic facts that are so bullish. There's a 96% chance that we're going to get Fed rate cuts on October 29th. That's next Wednesday. And then going into December, we still have odds of potentially more rate cuts. That's a 0.5 point by December 10th. Historically speaking, with Fed rate cuts and risk on assets like stocks and crypto, rate cuts are bullish. That's why the S&P 500 is going higher. That's why the Dow Jones Industrial Average is going higher. We also see gold stalling out a little bit, which is also another bullish catalyst for Bitcoin. So what I've been doing lately is, as I tell you guys, I've been trading this market. And I was in a Solana trade yesterday, and I want to talk a little bit about it. I'm out of that trade. I got stopped out for just a couple $100 in the profit. But what I was looking at was the fact that we kind of saw this pattern happening for Solana. And if I can go over to the Solana chart for a second, you're going to see what I was talking about. We were playing tick, tack, tick, tack, tick, and tack was what I was hoping for. And then, as that trade did get into the profit for me, I set my stop loss to make sure I secured that profit, boom. And then we had a big wick to the upside. Why? Because the inflation data turns out to be quite bullish. I believe that is what sent Bitcoin back above, or Solana and Bitcoin back up to the 110 level. Again, retesting this top range. Solana broke through this wedge. Looks like it wants to break out, but it got knocked right back down into it. Again, it's just looking at like the hourly candles here. Solana came above it for a few short hours on that CPI news, but now we're kind of back below that blue line. Now, if Solana can really break out to the upside here, and I'm looking at Solana as just an example, guys, because you want to see Solana's weekly candle, okay? Find a bounce right here on this $188 price level, right about here. to continue the upside. Just as you want to see Bitcoin get a move back above $111,000 to get a continued move to the upside. When I think about the 4-year cycles, the 4-year cycle part of me says technically the bull market is over. And if it's not over yet, then it needs to be over very soon. And that's what I've said for the last 4 years, is that in October of 2025, there's a good chance we could go into a bear market. But in November, maybe into December, we might extend out into that, but it'd be shocking to me if we extended out further. And that's kind of how I feel. But when you do look at the macro picture and you look that rate cuts are coming, 2 rate cuts, and historically rate cuts are very bullish for risk on assets. When you look at the fact that the Fed is moving forward and the government shutdown is still ongoing, which means people have lack of faith in the U.S. government, which means maybe they're going to flee to things like gold, which you've already seen rally. And looking at gold, there's so many things going on right now, guys. Gold is also potentially topping out. And if gold tops out historically, Bitcoin's able to find a rally. It hasn't fully topped out yet, but it does look like it's starting to fall lower. There's a lot of things that line up for some bullish crypto sentiment. We also have the crypto market structure bill, which we're waiting on to come out. And that could be coming out within the next few days, maybe in the next month, probably sometime here in 2025. And you have a pro-crypto president in office, which just gave a pardon to the ex-CEO of Binance. Binance might be entering the U.S. market. So do you see how conflicted I am as well? It's not just you. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are like, this guy's saying nothing. This guy's speaking the truth, the real thoughts. Historical data for Bitcoin alone in the 4-year cycle says we're going into a bear market technically. If not right now, very soon. But on the macro side, there are so many bullish catalysts. So let me end the video by saying this. Now more than ever is the time where I feel the most that this time could potentially be different. And potentially in a very bullish way. With all the macro conditions for the crypto space looking very good, a pro-crypto SEC, a pro-crypto president, everything else I laid out for you guys with Fed rate cuts being good for risk on assets historically, this time could be different in a very bullish way. But we will find out very soon. Because if this is not different and we're going into a bear market, things are going to get bloody very fast. Now, regardless if we're going into a bear market or we're going to continue to the upside for these things, like I hope we do, there are trading opportunities. And what I'm doing is I'm taking advantage of the volatility in the crypto market. I trade over on a lot of platforms. Recently, I've been trading a lot over on BTCC. I'm currently not in a position. My last one got stopped out. I'm thinking about a potential short right now because I think we had a spike above this range because of the inflation data being very positive, but I still kind of think we're playing this game of tic-tac-toe for Solana. So if you guys want to do some trading, you can go over to BTCC, signing up for this platform in the description of this video down below, where you can get a 10% deposit bonus. And it is so easy to sign up for this exchange. A 10% deposit bonus on your first $500 worth of USDT. And this thing's been around for 14 years, up to 500x leverage on this platform. If you haven't taken advantage of that already and you want to take advantage of the volatility, again, whether we're going to a bear market or a bull market continuation, there are volatile moves in this market that we can take advantage of. That's all I got. I'm Crypto Kip. This is Crypto Report. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, DCA. Hold on, my friends. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. 2 videos here if you want to check them out. I'll see you next time, y'all. Peace.